Hello everyone, I'm Corey Mitchell with TradeThatSwing.com, and this is your swing trading stock market outlook for the week of October 14th. Just a reminder, it is a Canadian holiday, so the markets are closed on Monday, October 14th for Thanksgiving. The U.S. markets are open, so don't expect a lot of content from me coming out over the next few days, as I will be doing Thanksgiving stuff here. And each week I just go through the same process, helps me assess how aggressively I'm going to be deploying capital, in which direction, how the markets are doing, where to focus my attention, those types of things. And this is something you can do every day. Market conditions do change, and they can change swiftly. So this gives you an idea of what to look for. As of October 14th, or heading into the week of October 14th, market conditions are good. That means I'm focused on long trades and willing to deploy capital. Best swing trading stocks watch list is one you can check out if you're looking for some trade ideas. That's not setups that are occurring necessarily. It's just a list of two very strong stocks, and then there is a strategy listed in that article, or you can go to this one. If you're ever wondering where this article is, go to TradeThatSwing.com under Stocks, Stock Market Analysis and Trades. This article is updated each week. So how are the markets doing? Well, I look at a bunch of different indices just to give myself an assessment of how different segments of the market are doing. And so we have the more generally considered technology heavy NASDAQ, the NYSE Composite, very broad measure of stocks, all different sizes of companies, different industries. We have the S&P, which is the largest companies, and we have the Russell 2000, which is the smallest companies. Well, not the smallest. The Russell 2000 is a little odd. It's like if you took the largest, I think it was 3,000 companies, it's the smallest 2,000 of those 3,000. So they can still be a little bit bigger companies, but they're definitely not the size of the S&P 500. So a little bit smaller companies. And then we have the Canadian, more commodity-based type index. Lots of materials, energy, that type of stuff. And then we'll look at Bitcoin and gold a little bit later. But everything in an uptrend right now, just like last week, or at least exhibiting uptrending behavior. We can see on the NASDAQ, we're below its all-time high after that big sell-off in July. But move up, pull back, move up to a new high, pull back, still at a higher swing low at the moment. So exhibiting uptrending behavior. Move up, pull back, move to a new high, moving up again, uptrending behavior. There's no lower swing lows or lower swing highs in the recent price action. Now, if you go back further, yes, we're below that high. But after that, we have seen higher swing highs and higher swing lows. Higher swing highs, higher swing lows, higher swing highs, higher swing lows. In the Russell 2000, again, similar situation to NASDAQ. We're below that all-time high, but at least for the moment, exhibiting uptrending behavior. Again, I say this almost every week. I'm not into predicting. I'm not predicting that necessarily this uptrend will continue. I'm just saying, hey, there's an uptrend, so I'll trade it. I'm not really guessing as to whether it will continue or not. We have the market health indicators we look at as well. So it's like if everything's saying it's good and we're in an uptrend, I'm going to be looking to buy stocks. Don't need to make it more complicated than it is. The Bitcoin moving in this choppy channel lower. This is a 2-day chart, just so I could fit in a little bit more of this rally without it looking too squished. So we can see this big rally coming in, and then it's just been chopping in this slightly descending channel. Some big attempts to sell off haven't really worked out so far. We had talked about this opportunity here coming off the lows of the channel. You get the bounce, you get the pullback, and then the run higher. Last week we discussed a couple weeks ago on the daily chart, we had a little consolidation in here. It doesn't show up as much on the 2-day chart. We had a little consolidation in here. It just barely popped up and then stalled out, and I just said I didn't really like that it didn't really run. So held off, and now, ultimately looking for a move up toward the top of this channel, and hopefully eventually a breakout to the upside. But again, if it doesn't happen, then we're not trading. If it does, hopefully we are in it. Pullback, little move up, very small pullback, so showing maybe some declining selling momentum there, and we're starting to move back up. So if we had a little push up and then a little pullback and we started moving up again, that would be a nice little rounded bottom pattern. And yeah, so I'm just looking for opportunities to get in. Again, Van Eck, the gold miners versus the gold trust. So just basically showing how gold's moving down here, and this is a representation of the average gold stock, I guess you could say. And gold moving really well, had a recent little pullback, only about 1%, and it's starting to move back up. Don't know if it's going to continue or not, but at least we are in an overall uptrend. The gold miners have been moving, noted this the last couple weeks, this 20% up, about 10% kind of ish area pullback, and we got to 9% and we had a nice little pop. Again, don't know if that's going to continue, just noting a pattern, and you can find opportunities you like. But overall, moving in an uptrend, and also confirming the move up in gold. While it looks a little different, what I want to see is when gold's moving up, I want to see the miners moving up. If gold's making higher swing highs, I want the miners to be making higher swing highs. Once that starts to change, if you have a divergence where gold is moving up, but the gold miners start making lower swing lows or lower swing highs, that usually indicates that the gold run is near an end. And especially when you start to see the miners really turn down, gold might still move up for a little bit, but that shows the industry, people are kind of getting tired of the rally or whatever. They're starting to exit positions, and gold will usually follow. Just something to be aware of. Not happening yet, just something to be aware of. This is the market health indicators. Volume, not important to me at the moment. This is the daily percentage movement of the S&P 500. Looking for low values. That indicates uptrending behavior. High values associated with pullbacks, bear markets, higher volatility environments, tougher to trade long positions in. When you see that high volatility, we're generally in a sell-off, so you can look for maybe some good deals or something like that. But in terms of kind of the swing trading and when I like to get involved, I like to get involved once it settles down. That's generally the more rhythmic uptrend, like we had over here. When it gets volatile, that's when you get this type of price action. The NYSE advanced decline line, I've just zoomed in over here to the very corner, and it's at a new high along with the S&P 500. So the prior high was over here. The NYSE advanced decline line has moved up. That is simply advancing stocks minus declining stocks is a cumulative number, and it's moving up, basically confirming what the S&P 500 is doing. What we look for here is divergences. If it's moving up and the S&P 500 is moving down, that generally indicates the S&P 500 is going to make a turn and start heading up. If the S&P 500 is going up and this is going down, that usually indicates the S&P 500 is on thin ice and will generally start declining, because most stocks underneath are actually starting to decline, even though the index, which is weighted toward a few stocks, may still be moving up. Up volume divided by total volume, just looking for extreme values. Either most of the volume in the market occurred in stocks moving to the upside, or most of the volume that occurred in the market on a particular day occurred in stocks moving to the downside. You can see it's fairly evenly distributed recently, which is fine. I'm only looking for big values. Either way up here shows that most of that volume occurred in stocks moving to the upside, or way down here showing most of that volume occurred in stocks moving to the downside. And that just gives us If we were to get a big downside day, that would be a big selling day. That would indicate potential, at least short-term reversal. Big upside volume wouldn't really matter to me at the moment, simply because we're already in an uptrend. We're already moving up, so it would just kind of confirm what's already going on. Wouldn't be super important to me. When it is important, when you want those big upside volume days, are when you've had a correction and then you get really big volume coming in on stocks moving to the upside. This is the percentage of stocks above their 50-day moving average, just a crude measure of stocks in uptrends, how many there are, and 75% of the S&P 500 stocks are above their 50-day moving average. 64% of all US stocks are above their 50-day moving average. Again, just a crude measure of stocks that are in uptrends. If you're buying, it's generally going to be easier to make money if most stocks are trending higher. So right now, most stocks moving up, holding up fairly well. Going to be easier to make money than when only 30% of stocks are moving up. Then you're going to have to be much more precise in your stock selection for trades. Sectors on the move, there weren't too many standouts. Industrials hanging out near the top here, as well as, they're up near the top on the 1 month, they're up near the top on the 3 month. But most sectors are doing okay. Technology trying to make a turn, getting up near the top on the 1 week and the 1 month. But they're, the 3 month performance was pretty weak, as we saw from those other charts. The NASDAQ 100 still below its all-time highs, whereas a lot of other stocks have surged to new all-time highs on those indices, or at least what the indices reflect. Basic materials, it's kind of hanging out in the middle section of a couple of these, but most things doing okay. There might be a few that you want to stay away from, but most things doing okay. And those were the ones that just kind of popped out. It was technology potentially making a turn, and industrials pretty strong across the board on all three time frames. So what am I doing? Well, taking long trades in stocks, gold stocks. Those will be included in potential scan lists if they've been strong. That's what I'm looking for, strong stocks, and gold stocks will be in that if they apply. Bitcoin maybe turning back toward the top of the channel, looking for a potential trade there as well. And then of course there's always the option to day trade if you want the daily action. So that's your swing trading stock market outlook for the week of October 14th. If you are in Canada, have a great Thanksgiving weekend, and we will see you soon.